Oh, I know. Do what I do. Never mind. Start the end. Hey now. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy December. Hey now. Welcome to December's Uneeda Horror podcast. I got energy tonight. I'm drinking my coffee, so I'm good to go tonight. And I don't know about Nick.
I'm not talking about it. Yeah, man. December, Christmas time, birthday time.
22nd, right?
Yep. Yeah. I'll be the old 2-9. I'm almost at 30.
Me too.
You are there.
I know, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And once you, it's gonna be interesting to see if you have a breakdown like I did. I'm serious. I didn't sleep for a couple nights. I didn't.
I mean, I have breakdowns all the time about different things. So
I know. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm probably in for a breakdown.
It's funny because Sydney hasn't had this yet. I'll talk to other people about this that have already passed 30. And a lot of them was like, hey, I went through the same thing, man. You're not alone. I went to bed thinking, holy shit, I've actually gotten to this age. It seemed like I never would. And number two, what have I done with my life? What have I accomplished? You know, and it kind of lit a fire under me to work harder and just appreciate everything. But dude, 31 was great. When I hit 31, that was a great birthday. But 30, I didn't sleep for a couple nights. So
yeah,
enjoy 29, I guess.
I feel like that's impossible to do. You know what I mean? Because it's like the last one before 30. So I feel like all you'll think about when you're 29 is, shit, I'm almost 30.
I'll tell you what else, and nobody wants to talk about this, but I'll talk about it. I feel weird commenting on pretty women that are like 19, 20, 21.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm too old. Like,
yeah.
I really enjoy the show Wednesday. I love Jenna. I think she's a fantastic actress. She's the next big thing. But I don't want to talk about her in a sexual way. It just feels awkward. Especially like that Stranger Things broad. What's her name? She has a funny
Millie
name.
Bobby Brown.
Like, she's a pretty girl, but like I'm not gonna comment on that in any way besides extremely respectful. She's way too young. She's like what, 19? 18, 19?
She's probably like 20 now.
Like,
but yeah, still. Yeah.
It's just it's and I know that a lot of guys listening to this will resonate with this because they know it's true, but they feel awkward talking about it. It's like I'm at that age to where the broad from Scream that got booted off the movie, she's my age. She's born the same year as me, smoking hot. Oh, she's smoking hot. But like Jenna, I'm not gonna ever. She's too young.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna tell me because she's 18, like that's. I understand that's the law. That's like she can legally date a man. She can do whatever she wants. She can date whoever she wants at that point. But it's like your mind doesn't just change. Some guys do, but your mind doesn't just change once a birthday hits. It's like you're a kid. I'm 31. I'm not going to comment on your looks, positive or negative. So that's the only thing that's kind of, I say it kind of sucks. It's just reality.
Yeah, well, because I agree, and the way I look at it is too, I'm like, I put myself in the headspace of like, dude, when I was their age that they are right now, they were in like single digits, or they were like 10. That's creepy. Like, yeah. Good thing I like moms. I'm into moms.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
milfs, gilfs.
Yeah.
Um, you know, 50 doesn't sound that dude. A lot of broads like in their 50s now. Like Salma Hayek is the hottest she's ever been, and I think she's like
Oh my god.
53 or 4. She's smoking. I mean,
Mhm.
literally smoking hot, and she knows it too. Um, I don't know. I feel like the world is definitely like if you look at people if you look at people in their 50s from like the 70s and look at people in their 50s today, it's astounding the difference in the physical appearances. People just don't look old anymore. I mean, some people age a little faster than this, but like people aren't aging. And maybe it's the style, maybe it's the fashion, maybe it's everybody's doing Botox. I don't know. Which that's a whole nother thing. Is people getting Botox now in their fucking 20s and
Yeah.
30. And then
But
their
mhm.
face they can't like they can't laugh at anything. It's like somebody's got a vacuum on the back of their head and they turned it on, it's just sucking their skin back. So I don't know. We live in a very
We
bizarre
live in
time.
a society that's that's for sure. Yeah, no, it's weird. I don't know, man. It's the thing that kills me is the lip filler stuff, you know? Like, sometimes people take that overboard. You can blow your lips out, dude. Like, you can literally, like, explode them.
It's yeah, it's kind of comical for some women do it to where like I get it. Uh, a woman with nice full lips, it's attractive, but it's dude, it's so bizarre. I was talking to a buddy at work about this. In the 90s, you had to just be really skinny and have boobs. Like that was it. It's literally it's not the opposite today, but like the appeal of women today, ass, lips, um I don't know, boobs, it's kind of like some women are I don't know. Like there's this thing now, it's like flat shit like small tits is like in, I feel. I feel like that's the case. Like all the emphasis is on ass now. All of it is on
Good.
ass,
Where it should be.
you know?
Where it should be. But, yeah, no. No, and that's cool. I guess in some ways, we're evolving as a society. Like, in some way.
I'm still a tit guy though. I really like I love big boobs. And I don't know, like
I look at them as a luxury, not a necessity. Like, if you have them, cool. If you don't, well, it's not my primary concern anyway. So, I don't know. But
I don't
teach
know.
their own, you know,
It's a
guys.
it's gonna be interesting to see what the model woman is like build wise in 20 years. Like where's it gonna go? I feel like what happens is things get to a point to an extreme and then boom. It's like we're gonna hit the right now we're definitely in the hair metal era for women. Excess, you know, boobs, all that stuff, big butts, and then we're gonna hit our nirvana phase for women again. And it's gonna be suck out everything. No ass, no tits, like nothing. That's
Would
gonna
you
be the ideal women, and, everything goes through a cycle, dude, I'm telling you.
I w would you say that, are women in the, are women in their load and reload era? Are they in their sane anger era?
No, I'm saying with we're and I love it. I love it. We're in the hair
We're
metal era.
okay, so
We're in the
yep.
Whitesnake, Motley Crue, we're in the Slaughter, Vinnie Vincent, Kiss era,
So do you
excess.
worry that 20 years from now we could be in the sane anger era?
I don't know what that is for women. I don't know what the Saint Anger era is for women,
I don't
you
either,
know?
but that's you shudder to think about it. You know, I like Saint Anger, but I understand why it's a bastard child. So, and I would certainly not want Saint Anger to be Metallica's standard. I can tell you that. That should never be your standard for anything. So,
Y You know what else I found interesting? I don't know if it was just the way I saw stuff when I was a kid, but I feel like the goth style has gotten a
mhm,
lot more sexy today. Like,
mhm.
when I was in, like, 2099, 2001, 2, 3, I remember going into Hot Topic back in the day where it was dangerous to go in there. Like the goths owned Hot Topic, and a lot of the women then they wore uh they were parachute pants, essentially.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you couldn't even see the shape of what their thighs or butt was like,
Mhm.
because it was like literally if they jumped off a building, they're fine. They're gonna go and they're gonna catch all that air. And it was like I feel like now the goth style has gotten a lot more sexy. Especially
Rightfully
the
so.
stuff I see on Instagram,
Yeah, all
fishnets and,
yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah,
So, I mean,
rightfully
it's all
so.
good. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. The goth girl look is it's great, but yeah, I mean, you gotta do it right. You gotta do it right. And the women that do it right, kudos to you. But, guys, we could go on this tangent about what we like and what we don't like and pontificate what the future's going to look like. You know, everybody's got their own style. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. That lame saying, right? So, awesome. Christian's a boob guy. I'm a butt guy. Christian, as you said, it's December, and you have intentionally refrained from speaking on your channel or on social media about a new Christmas slasher that you recently saw. You haven't
Oh,
even
you
really
wanna go
spoken
to
to me
this
about it.
already?
Oh, I want to
Mm,
start right here, buddy. I want to start right here. Christian, you watched It's a Wonderful Knife.
yeah.
What'd you think?
Um, so let me preface it. So it seems to be a trend now of taking horror films and making horror versions of popular movies in a sense. We saw this with Death Day becoming Groundhog Day. We saw this with um what's the name of that movie? I just watched it right before Halloween.
Totally killer.
Totally Killer is basically like a Back to the Future movie, and It's a Wonderful Life is obviously It's a Wonderful Life. Um, see, I don't like saying this because it's not so. I guess I can kind of explain it. I thought it was really fucking boring. The big thing I would hear is, and I think you even said this to me, is like, hey, kind of get through the intro, and then it kind of kicks up. To me, the intro was the best part of the movie. The bulk of the movie to me was simply a task to get through. I wasn't that enthralled with much of it. Um, didn't like the tone of it too much. Like I'm so sick and tired of Christmas horror films that still make me want to enjoy the holiday. It's so it's that's 95. I'd say it's like 98% of all Christmas horror films. They want me to still enjoy the feel and vibe of the holiday. They meet me halfway too much. Um, and sometimes that's okay. Like Santa's Sleigh, for instance, it's literally a hysterical movie. Like, but that's why I like Black Christmas so much. It takes the holiday and it's like, you're not going to enjoy Christmas. I love that. I don't know, dude. This movie to me, this was like Totally Killer, but going 5 miles an hour instead of 50. Totally Killer was so fun. Movie felt like a freight train, so action packed. I loved it. And for me, this movie, it's not something I want to necessarily argue about because if somebody tells, because I wouldn't say something that I wouldn't accept somebody else saying. If somebody tells me, "Hey, Christian, I watched that movie you talked about. I just thought it was boring." I would say, "You know what? I can't argue with that. What am I gonna? I can't argue with how you perceive a film." To me, the bulk of this movie was simply a task to get through. I found it really boring, and I wasn't really impressed at all by it. As much as I like Justin Long, but
Just
to me, the intro was the best part of it, which is a lot of people were like, "Hey, it's kind of cliche, but get through it." I thought that was the only part of it that was like, "Oh shit, like what's going on?" Like I like that, but I don't know.
well, it makes
It
sense.
felt superficial, most of it too. It wasn't for me, man. I'll probably never watch that again.
Okay, that makes no, I don't wanna argue about it either. I mean, I this is one of those movies where, like, I can definitely see why it might not work for some people, and it's like Happy Death Day in that way. It's like Freaky in that way. Like, those kind of movies, like, when you go into a certain tone and you either gotta, like, go for it or you gotta tone it back sometimes. I mean, you really have to, you gotta know, what you're doing there. It worked for me. I understand. what you're saying, I get it, but there's a couple things you gotta give me on this movie. You gotta give me the sequence with Carol of the Bells playing out in the storm when the dude's getting hacked up by the axe. That was pretty fucking cool. You know what I'm talking about? Outside the party, where he's outside, you keep getting these jump cuts from inside the party to outside the party. That was a cool scene. You got
Okay.
to give me Bernie, the weirdo. I thought she was great. I thought she was funny.
Is that the friend that wanted to kill herself?
Yes, and then the one they called weirdo. Okay. All right. All right. Well, okay,
It,
fair. But you got,
I,
and above
Nick,
all else, you got to give me Justin Long.
he's
He was good.
I liked him, but
Yeah.
dude, this is
You
again.
want depravity, and what you're going to, I mean, right behind me next
Well,
year, you're going to get a Christmas horror movie that's going to give you depravity.
and that's great. But here's my thing. It's just like, dude, I've seen a long line of movies that have done literally what this film has already done.
Yeah.
They had a chance, in my opinion, to flip that on its head.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh, this wasn't
and
breaking the mold. No.
that's
Oh, fuck
dude.
no.
I don't know. This has not been my favorite year for movies. It really hasn't. I think 2023 is probably my least favorite since 2020. It's just I've only seen one movie this year that really put a smile on my face.
Yeah,
Really.
we'll get there.
And I'm clearly in the minority. It seems like most people enjoyed this film, dude. It's kind of like the Five Nights at Freddy's thing for me too. If I had seen this movie before Freaky, before Happy Death Day, before Totally Killer, which Totally Killer is my favorite out of all of those kinds of movies. So it was like a roller coaster. Every scene kind of had you on your feet. And it also kind of made fun of. I like how that movie was kind of making fun of like the PC over, like not necessarily PC culture of today, but like how different the world is. Like, do your parents know where you guys are? Like, no, we just kind of leave the house and show back up at home at night. And I'm thinking to myself, that's how I was as a kid. Like my
Mm-hmm.
parents, they didn't know where I was. Like when the lights went down outside, that's when I had to come back home. So it kind of showed the dichotomy of the worlds we live in today and back then.
I don't think my mom cared where I was.
Same. I just had to be home at a certain time. Other than
Yeah.
that, I literally could have been swimming in the river, for 6 hours. She would have never
Mm-hmm.
known. But dude, again, it's just like it was like doing that kind of thing for the sake of, okay, this is kind of what people are doing. Let's take this Christmas movie and flip it on its head, make it a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of mediocrity, Nick. This has been the most mediocre year in a long time.
This has
In my
definitely been a
opinion.
year. This has definitely been a year where we've gotten a lot of movies and like projects in general that have just been like meh, like not bad enough to where you're like that was a complete waste of time. But there's definitely been a lot of middle of the road. Like I'll
Name a
definitely
movie
meet you
this
there.
year. Name a movie this year that took a huge fucking risk. Did something out of this world different. Name me something.
There's one that we're going to talk about later, so I won't talk about
It's
that
fine.
yet. Trying to think of the movies that I loved this year.
We
I
ought to
don't
look at
think
a list of stuff that came out from the beginning of the year till even the stuff that was good. It was something like, for instance, in the beginning of the year, there was a movie came out called Missing.
yeah,
Searching or great
Searching.
movie, but it was a sequel to something that was already, I think, still better. Like Searching was better than Missing was great, but it was okay. That blueprint worked. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, Megan, let's do a doll movie. Okay.
Scream 6, as much as I had a good time with Scream 6, there's a lot of
But
formulaic
it
things in that
wears
movie.
so is
Yeah,
it just me?
yeah.
Good,
No,
but it wears so fast.
I will say, one movie that I think that it didn't break any new ground, but it was different. Thanksgiving, I think, was a movie that pleasantly I was excited for Thanksgiving, but it surprised me even more than I thought it would because, like, you're playing into a holiday that
Yeah.
never gets touched in the horror genre, so it's underrepresented as hell, and you gave us this, like, old school throwback campy slasher movie, so in a sense, no, it's not breaking new ground. It's not doing anything that hasn't been done before, but I think it's playing up on some nostalgia, and playing up on, I don't know, just a movie that sometimes it's nice to just watch a movie and it's not deeper. It's not trying to tell you all these things. It's
No,
not
yeah.
trying, it's just it's nice sometimes to watch a movie that's like, here's what we are. You cool with that? Awesome. And I saw some reviews for Thanksgiving where people were like, there's just side plots and blah blah. What fucking side plot was in Thanksgiving? I missed it. I
Yeah.
missed it. There was no side plots. It was one fucking plot. Like, so
It felt like 2009. It literally felt like I rented that movie from Blockbuster, and the and yeah, like, it was a welcomed old friend is what it felt like. It felt like it felt like he made that movie years ago, because I don't remember there being much explicit 2020 things about it in there at all, in any aspect, really. As a matter of fact, because of the fact that they went shopping after Thanksgiving Day, that's dead. Nobody does that anymore. So the fact that they did that is another reason that made me feel like, oh, this feels like it feels like kind of a retro movie in a
mhm,
sense, or slightly, I don't know. Besides, my boy Tim Dillon he had the best scene in the movie. I love the scene at his house with his cat. I love Tim Dillon, so he's so funny. Um,
mhm,
so my biggest thing is, why didn't the killer use a waffle iron as a weapon?
right.
Like, Eli, what are you doing? Like, I was waiting for that, and he never once touched a waffle iron. That's what all this shit was about, was a
The
waffle
waffle
iron,
iron. Yeah.
and they never
Yeah.
used it. Um,
Yeah. Well, I there is something that I watched this last week that came out last year, and I remember you talked about it last year on a podcast episode, and I believe you were a fan of it, and I just never got around to watching it because I heard very middle of the road things about it, and so I was like, maybe I'll catch it eventually. I watched Christmas. Oh, I almost said Clitmas. Uh,
I've seen that
Christmas,
though.
Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Dude, I gotta tell you, I thought that movie ruled. Like, I thought that movie was a blast. It was like, I love the lead chick. She was like this anarchist. Like, I just dug her vibe, and she just felt like the type of girl. Like, I've dated that girl before. Like,
I'm
I like
sorry.
no, don't be sorry. Those girls are fun. They're not mentally stable, but I wouldn't say I am. So, I don't know. I like a little crazy, but she's like this anarchist. She has good movie taste. She's got your movie taste. Like some of the scenes, I know you talk about all the time in slasher movies. You always say, I don't give a fuck about character development. I don't need to really get to know these characters. And Christmas Bloody Christmas was one of those movies where it was like, it gave you character development, but not in this like super deep, I'm trying to say so much with these people. Like, no, it was like, let's argue about horror movies. And she's I'm sitting here the whole time this scene's happening. I'm like, Christian, that Christian
Mhm,
would have fucking dated this girl because she's like,
mhm.
Pet Cemetery 2, Book of Shadows is a classic.
This
but like, yeah,
Tarantino figured that out. Tarantino was like, Why is it in People Talking Movies? Hey, did you watch the show last night?" "Yeah, I saw it." And Tarantino was like, "No, no, what show? Tell me more about it." He created that, and it's clear that's what makes people relate to. I don't need to know that you had a shitty childhood to relate to you. You tell me you like a movie, or if you listen to Sister Christian in the beginning of Friday the 13th when you're looking for weed, you're my best friend. Like, that's how that you see what I'm saying? Like, that's how you connect to me in a movie. So talking about movies you like, that's way more important to me than if you got dropped off on the side of the road when you were 3. Like, in
yeah.
movies, because it's fake anyway. So,
Mhm.
like,
And then
yes.
she's talking shit about Load and Reload from Metallica, and I'm like, yes, yeah, but like, I like Saint Anger better than those albums. Not to say there's not a couple good songs on those albums, because there are, but like overall, I think both of those albums are mainly misfires. But my point is, she was just like, I don't know, man. She was just really relatable. She was like, she just seemed like a human in today's society, no less. Because I feel like all of us are like fucked up, like
And
in
everybody's a nerd nowadays.
yes,
Everybody's obsessed with something because
yes.
because everything's at our fingertips. We just sit there looking shit up, and if we like something, we're digging into it. We're digging
Mhm.
into it. So I thought it was kind of over the top, but in another sense, I was thinking more about this. It's just like I think people are like that. I think
Mhm.
people just get into the nitty-gritty of stuff.
How
And
many
if it's horror,
viewers how many viewers do we have of this podcast that are like that? You know? And no shame that they know some of these series or bands or whatever it might be like the back of their hand. Christian, you're like that about certain things. I'm like that about
to a
certain things.
fault.
Yes, somebody gets you talking about Nightmare on Elm Street or let's say just any Alice Cooper. You could probably go on a nerdy fucking rant of information that most people wouldn't know because it means that much to you. And it's like
Mhm.
the same way with me in like Halloween or something where it's like, oh, let me tell you all about this, or Linkin Park or Metallica. Like I know all these weird, obscure things. And I think that that's why she was relatable to me because it wasn't like she had all these massive interests and she's like, I'm just nerdy about everything. No, she was specifically nerdy about music and horror movies. And I found that relatable. Like, I was just like, she's relatable. I liked her relationship with Robbie. Like, I thought they had really good chemistry together. And you told me this. I said it in my review, but I wasn't sure. And I said, it looks like it was shot on film. Like, I don't think this was digital. I didn't see in the credits where it says shot on like Kodak, and so I would have known immediately because I didn't watch the credits. But I was like, this just looks like 16 millimeter. And then you told me it was, and I was like, yeah. I mean, I could tell, and I think that that is a reason why, dude. There are certain scenes in the movie where like the fuzziness of the colors
Mhm.
really overtake the screen and almost make the people in the scene secondary. And I loved that. Like that was so cool to me. So I'm kicking myself for not watching this movie last year because this is one I'm going to watch every year now because I thought this movie was a blast.
I love Joe Bigos, the director. I don't know if you've seen a movie he did in 2019 or 2020. It was called VFW.
No,
Really good.
I
It's
keep
about
getting comments on my review like you need to watch VFW.
and Bliss, his vampire film. Is oh god, great. I believe those were all shot on 16. So he was on Charlie Band's podcast, which it's funny. It looks like Charlie only did that basically for a year.
Mhm.
But that's how Charlie operates. He plays with his toys, and then once he gets bored with it, he sets them to the side. But he interviewed Joe, and that's where I learned all about that. Joe was just like, because Charles Band, he's like, "How do you afford to shoot everything on film?" He's like, if that's how I'm doing it. You know, if I'm lucky enough to where my movies get cult followings enough to where people hire me and leave me alone and let me film the stuff the way I want to. So I shoot with I think he said he even bought like a stock of film. He went out of his way to buy like get it. So you said there was mixed reviews. I think I know why. There is a certain sect of people who don't enjoy the pandering. They don't enjoy, "Hey, I get it. You wanna shoot on film, you wanna blow colors out of your ass on film because you like Suspiria." There's a certain section of horror fans that they don't like they see it as pandering or they seeing it as, "Hey, how about you have your own identity?" And I kinda see where they're coming from, I'll be honest with you. Um, and then there's other people, I kinda fall on the other side where I'm just like, I love the fact that this is shot on film because I'm a nerd, so I know not only do I can I notice it, but I love it. It feels authentic. I don't know how else to say it because I don't think digital's getting very good, but unless you're shooting on fucking 70 mil like Nolan is, um, I just don't it doesn't cut it for me yet. So like I appreciate the authenticity of shooting on film and I enjoy seeing the colors and stuff that he throws in his movies. Um, but that's I think where it's coming from. And I think like I was telling you the other night, I think some people don't they there is I because I when it first came out, I remember that's where I saw the bulk of people's opinions about it last year. And some people were just like, this is ridiculous. Like, why is this guy trying so hard to make characters that sound like us? It's just like, come on, women, attractive women don't sound like that. Like I saw that a lot.
Not true.
Granted, I've never
It's not true. It's
I mean,
not true.
you know, so
I mean, if we could just call a spade, I have met women that speak like that. That talk. I mean, like I'm just gonna
sure.
rip the band-aid off, Christian. That literally will say they'll be blunt. They'll be upfront with you. Like, yeah, guys don't know how to, you know, eat chicks out. Like that's like some women will say that. Some women are brass. Some women don't give a shit. Like
Yeah.
and it's always the like 90-pound soaking wet girls at wear the skinny jeans and the band t-shirts and have the fucking arm tattoos and the
Mhm.
frizzy hair that are like that. I don't think that was a character put into a movie like that. That wasn't like a caricature. Like that wasn't comical. Like that was
Right.
I don't know a lot about this Jeff or this Joe
Joe Bigos.
Bigos guy, but
Yeah.
I could tell you looking at pictures of him,
I like
I
him.
was like, he's probably dated girls like this. Like this probably comes from experience. Like looking at his style of filmmaking, he's probably that kind of guy. So he's attracted to women like that. I'm
Sure.
sure there's probably a woman listening to this episode right now, like, I'm literally that person, or they think they are that person. And either way, like they're real. I think it's just like sometimes we become so insulated because of what the representation we get on screen most of the time is. You don't see that a lot. Like,
No.
how is this any different than Laurie Strode and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? It's really not. Like that's what it reminded me a lot of. I kept thinking of that. I was like, she has very similar style. She has very similar taste. Like she has a very similar personality. Like there are women like that. And usually women like that or men like that. It comes from a place you said it a few minutes ago. I know you had a fucked up childhood. I know you've got a lot of stories to tell. Like, can't wait to hear all that. Like, we wear that on us in
Yeah.
different ways.
I also think it depends on where you live too. I mean, the
Yeah.
internet makes you connect to people across. But let me tell you something. Point blank, I'd be willing to bet my mortgage. There ain't one broad in this town that dresses like she does, sounds like she does.
Dude, I see a girl like that out in public every now and then. And like, I wish I had the confidence to just approach and be like, hi. But I don't. I don't. And it's also they're intimidating because you know they're loose cannons, like in the best kind of way. So like I just can't approach. And but like every now and then when you see one in public, I saw a girl dressed like that. She was wearing, you're gonna love this. She was wearing a Dawkins shirt. She had the sleeves cut off.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing black skinny jeans with holes all down the front of them. She had a very nice figure. She had kind of the frizzed up hair look. And she was in front of me at the gas station. This was a couple weeks ago. And she was a little bit taller too. I mean, not as tall as me, but she was a little bit taller. And I was just like gobsmacked. Like I was just like, I want to say hi to you, but I just can't. Like I don't have it in me. But you're right. You don't see them a lot. Not in your area, and definitely not in my area. You'd
It's
probably have
all
to go.
camouflage.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, I really liked her character. I liked their relationship.
I did too.
And
I
I
thought it
just the
was
only
yeah.
complaint I really had about the movie was if it had a bigger budget, some of the effects would have been better. But aside from that, I was like, there were some kills that I thought were good. And then there were some where I was like, that's a dummy, very clearly. But I can't really, and I said in my review, I can't really knock the movie for that because it was a low budget, straight to streaming movie. Like it is what it is. You make do with what you've got. But then on the flip side of that, in the third act, when the Santa is like fucked beyond belief, those effects looked really good. Like the
Yeah.
wires and the lights and stuff, that looked really good. So I dug it, man. I just thought it was a fun, turn your brain off for an hour and 20 some odd minutes and just have a good time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that gets an American 4K. It didn't get one in America. It got a German one. But because it is 16 mil and because, he shoots his movies like that, I'd love to own it that way. I never bought the Blu-ray for it, but I enjoyed that. That was and it was different. I told you this. Um, that was supposed to be a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake.
Yep.
And I really respect the fact that they read his script. The producers that own the rights to make that movie were like, no, 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 no. This is not Silent Night, Deadly Night. He's like, I'm not making the goddamn same thing again. If that's what you want, I'm not your guy. And they were like, okay. So he's like, fuck you. So he bailed on him and got funding from RLJ or whatever to make that movie. And so good on him. I wish
Yep.
people had more brass like him in the movie business. So I like Bigos. I'm looking forward to whatever he does next. I think he might have announced something, but I don't remember what it was. But he's a rogue dude. He's a maverick. He does his thing. He's a lot like Rob Zombie, and he's very quiet. He doesn't really raise his voice. He just makes his movies. He does not give a fuck what you think about it. Doesn't argue with people online like some directors do. Can't believe some of them do that, but like I have a lot of respect for Joe Bigos. I really like him. He just does his thing and puts it out there. If you like it, great. If you don't, oh well. No harm, no
Yeah,
foul. So
I
I
never understood that.
got much respect for Joe. And VFW is probably, in my opinion, his best movie. It's really good. It's got Norm from Cheers in it. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's kind of like these old vets that hang out at this old bar. They hang out at a VFW lounge, I think. And this like renegade group tries to take over it, and they got one more fight in them. It was fun, really fun movie. So, and that
They,
came out right around the pandemic, I think, if memory serves. So, good movie though. Good movie.
yeah, I was happy to see, Jeff Daniel Phillips in it as a
Mhm.
sheriff. I just wish he would have gotten a little more screen time because I thought he was I've always liked him. I've always liked him. I think he's good, and he gets cast. I gotta think that this Joe Bigos guy is friendly with Rob Zombie. Like, I just have a feeling. Like, they have similar styles, similar tastes, like, working with similar actors. I'm sure he's an inspiration for the guy. I'm sure he is.
More than likely, I wouldn't be surprised. It's funny because every time I do see Jeff Daniel Phillips, it's always very brief when it's not a Rob Zombie movie. There was this movie that came out a few years ago called Satanic Panic, and the funny thing was the Walmart version, they could not put the word satanic on the front, so there was custom slipcovers made just for Walmart, which I have because I thought it was gonna be worth something. But if you bought the movie online, you could get it with the Satanic Panic slipcover. But if you bought it at Walmart, it just said Panic on the front. But it was a movie about this girl who's a pizza delivery driver, and she delivers pizza at this house where it's literally this cult worshiping Satan. It's over the top, dark humor, horror comedy. But Jeff was in it, and again, I see him, and you see him for like maybe 3 minutes total throughout the movie, and it's just like, come on, like, can I get him in? Can I get more of him in something else that's not Rob Zombie, and like actually see him act? Because I feel like that's just the thing. Like whenever you see him and it's not a Rob Zombie film, he's just sprinkled in. It's like give the guy a shot. I mean, I didn't realize he was the what were those commercials? He played a caveman. So easy, a
Caveman,
caveman
yeah.
can do it. What
Mhm.
is that? Is that an insurance commercial
That
or
was,
something?
that used to be Geico.
Geico. So easy, a
Mhm.
caveman. That was him.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, those commercials alone have probably, paid his way. He can just do these, like, bit parts in movies every now and then, and, that's the life, man. I'm sure that is the life, you make good enough money, you don't really have too much on your plate, you get to work with cool people, like, I'd kill for that personally. But, yeah,
Yeah.
he was good. It was a good movie, man. It was. I had a really good time with it. I definitely I see myself revisiting it quite often, honestly. I thought it was really good. I almost hate that, like, there are certain movies that you can only watch them certain times a year. I mean, you could throw it on in March, but it doesn't hit the same.
That's
It
another
just
reason I'm not really into Christmas horror films anymore, honestly.
yeah.
I don't know what it is, dude. I get less and less interested in them as the years go by. Why
You're
make a
getting older.
movie? Why make it? I kind of get it. To me, it's just like, man, why make a movie that you got to feel like you can watch like one time? Like, I don't know. I get it because it's like, hey, why make a Christmas song? Because guess what? Once a year, people are gonna want to listen to it. But I don't know. I'm not. I get less interested in Christmas horror films as I get older. Now, if it's Terrifier 3, that's exciting to me because I want to turn the holiday on its head again. That's just me. Like I want the movie to make me not enjoy Christmas. I
Do you
feel
think it's
like
weird that they're releasing that in October?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, he's probably smart to do that.
Well, it's October 25th. At first, I thought that was weird. Well, I thought that was weird,
That's
and then
funny.
I was like, "Wait, that gives them a week with Halloween, and then moving into November, where a bunch of people are getting ready for Christmas. So maybe then you,
I think it'll keep the legs on it.
yeah, yeah,
That's pretty smart.
So yeah,
Besides, he may know something we don't know. What's coming out next December, movie-wise? Because
fuck
the
if
average
I know.
person's gonna go to the movies a couple times a year nowadays. And so if there's something big coming out in December, they're not gonna see 2 movies then. So I trust him. I think he's a smart guy. So,
Yeah,
um,
but I know that's not what you really want to talk about. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to see this movie that's doing really well. Um, just got its theatrical run extended
I'm
by
seeing it
another
again
week.
tomorrow. Taking Sydney.
Christian, why don't you tell everybody about your favorite movie of the year?
Hands down, Godzilla -1 is the best movie of the year. It's not even remotely close. I think it's quite possibly the best Godzilla movie, pound for pound. I've never seen a movie uh that gripping in all aspects in terms of the look of the movie, the intensity of Godzilla. Now this is personal. Um and I'm not going to be an American Godzilla movie hater. I'm not going to do that. Um Godzilla to me is at his best, personally, in my opinion, when it's Godzilla versus the people. I don't like good guy Godzilla as much. The reason I kind of like Godzilla versus Kong is because they kind of made Zilla a little bit more on the evil side. But to me, Godzilla -1 is as good as the original 54 movie. Uh, the story was so good, really, really gripped you. Um, And I loved how authentic the movie looked. It took place in World War II in Japan, and it was like after this apocalypse happened in this small village, and man, you really believed it. And I loved uh there was quirky characters that were kind of, what you saw in a lot of the Heisei movies or the Showa era movies. And dude, this movie had so much heart to it. I don't know if you've seen a movie called Train to Busan.
I still haven't.
Well, it's okay if you haven't, but, like, Train to Busan was a zombie film that came out, and it took the world by storm in America because it was one of the most emotionally impactful movies in the zombie genre ever. I mean, it had you cry by the end of it. It was so gripping, and I feel like Godzilla -1 was the Train to Busan of Godzilla films. It's such a high compliment, in my opinion, because, I mean, it the internal the struggle of the guy having the grief from surviving war, in essence, Godzilla. Um, I don't know. That's something I think everybody, even if you haven't been in battle, it's something you can understand. You can relate to it. You can feel that pain. It's so good. I mean, it was so fucking good. And I thought the look of Godzilla was brilliant. Finally, we got a design that really um, was based off the 54 look. Skinny arms, heavy bottom. It's my favorite design of Godzilla. I thought he looked my issue with the American Godzilla is he's almost Lego-y. Like his arms are kind of a little bit more thick. It's almost too he's almost too proportional in the American films. I really the roughness of Godzilla in -1. He looks infected. He's bumpy, he's scaly, he's got all kinds of like it looks like warts and stuff on his back. Like he's very power plant looking, or he's very what is it? He comes from he's a he comes from explosives or whatever, like his body, like whatever. But like his design, everything about -1 was so haunting to me, especially because Godzilla was a monster of the sea for a lot of the movie too, which to me that's fucking horrifying. Imagine being on the boat and seeing that shit go under you. Oh, dude, I've never enjoyed a Godzilla movie that much in my entire life, especially in the theater. So, I don't know, like, I think Godzilla -1 will especially when it hits streaming and people can see it, I think it's gonna go down as one of the absolute best Godzilla films ever made. Ever made.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I can't really argue with you.
I'd
And
still
it's
shave off about 15 minutes, but still incredible.
the way I look at it too is like, what I don't know. It's almost like you can have your cake and eat it too, because the American Godzilla films in a lot of ways are very different in tone. So, you watch that, you can like both, they don't feel like they're competing with each other because they're very different. And I really dig that. Like, I dig that the American version at times seems a little more like fun.
I
And
feel like
then
they're turning into Marvel movies, though. That's my fear.
it's hard to say that because they only have a couple movies. They're really trying to build out the monster verse. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's hard to say. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I thought that
But that's what the biggest stuff in the world is in America is these Marvel movies.
not
I mean, look,
anymore.
let's look. I know, yeah, but let's look at Godzilla versus Kong. Dude, it was a pinball machine in the last act. It's video game generation stuff. I'm not saying I dislike it, but Toho would never do that. That's not what their market is. The American market got for Godzilla is vastly different. Like they figured out how to captivate the American viewer for these movies, and it's totally different from the way Toho operates. If anybody sees Godzilla vs King Kong and watches Godzilla minus one, dude, it's the tone is vastly different.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
what
a
I'm saying.
negative thing, but like I definitely have a preference, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I'm saying is like it's very different styles. So I feel like you can enjoy both and not feel like they're competing with one another because they're doing different things. But I mean, for me, I mean, I would agree. I went into it, I guess, kind of tepid, I would say, because like I'm not as well versed in the Toho Godzilla films. There's a few I've seen, and I've mostly enjoyed them, but I didn't really become a Godzilla fan. I mean, I did initially with '98 from when I was a kid. Like, I had that Godzilla and little, the babies and stuff. Like, I had toys of that. Like, I was very much into that. And but I don't know. I just feel like for a while there, it seemed like Godzilla was kind of dormant. And I think that's why America, Legendary specifically, jumped on the opportunity to make some movies and made a deal with Toho. And then I think Toho kind of got back into the game after they saw that it was lucrative again. I think that once they saw that there's clearly still a market for that. Like, so I think it benefited both sides. I like that they can coexist and be very different things because you can like both for totally different reasons. I mean, as a movie, minus one is
Exceptional.
absolutely, yeah, it's head and shoulders. I mean, story-wise, um, caring about the characters and their arcs
It's
and I
exceptional.
and most importantly, I think that the socio like the societal what it's commenting on, like, society, like the social commentary in the movie and like the actual existential issues that war and economic despair and whatever it might be have on people, and like the
Yeah.
fallout from that, like the cost of those things, like that shit's really deep. You're not going to get that in an American Godzilla movie.
Yeah, because life
um
doesn't stop even if a monster shows up. It's
yeah,
dude, it's I'm sorry, go ahead. I could rave about this movie.
no, you're fine.
This is the only movie I can genuinely say is as close to perfect this year as anything. I could shave time off of it, but that's just because I'm kind of like a bitch about longer movies, but I'll even rescind that. If anything is perfect this year to me, it's Godzilla minus one. Fucking incredible. But you know what though? I didn't see any of that gummy kind of charming CGI. I feel like you definitely saw it in Shin. when the
Yes.
Tadpolezilla's worming his way between the buildings. But I
Yes.
I I I was almost a little bummed that I didn't see that. Like, I didn't see I feel like they've mastered it to where, unfortunately, it's, like, pretty much identical to the effects of the American ones. Um, Especially the city scene. I was just like, "Holy shit. This almost looks too good." Like, where's my almost kind of, like, ghostly movements of some of that gummy feel that you would see? I was a little bummed almost by that because I was like,
Well,
"Shit, they finally mastered CGI in Japan."
yeah, and I think that I know where you're coming from with that because I know that there's a nostalgia there. It's like
Mhm.
just a thing you expect to see. It's almost like so identifiable with the property that you're like, okay, well, I gotta have this. But I do think it's the right decision for them to move the way they have in that CG because it does make it feel more real and more lived in. Like when he's leveling that city, like that shit looked
Insane.
like disaster movie shit. Like that was like, oh my god. Like and then imagining like if that were happening and like what that would be like to be caught in the middle of that. It's like truly wild shit. And then I think about I think personally, one of the best sequences in the movie is when they're on the boat and he's chasing them,
Hands
and,
down.
like, his
Hands
head
nail
is above
biter.
the oh, it yeah, I mean, that's you think Jaws is suspenseful? Nah,
That's
nah.
that's why I say that he's so haunting in the water,
Mhm.
right? I mean, oh, dude.
There's genuinely nothing you can do if you come face to face with that thing. There's
And
nothing.
when they s I don't know how much I can say because I feel like cover your ears for 20 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go. But when they shoot the mine in his mouth, and then when it blows up and you see him regenerate,
Mhm.
dude, I was like I was like, "He should regenerate." I know he regenerates. That's what Godzilla does. That's why he's unbeatable. But they're probably not gonna do that. But when he does, I was like, "How the fuck are they gonna beat him?"
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure that they weren't gonna do that, but
It was wild to me when the fucking warship showed up too, and they're like, "Hell yeah, let's go," and he just crushed it like a
destroy
fucking Lego, dude.
s
Like
the city explode like, the city demolishing scene, I think is probably the best one, of any Godzilla film I've ever seen because they didn't shy away from really destroying buildings. The carnage, the aftermath was fucking devastating. There was nothing left. And it didn't drag on too long either. It fell right. It fell in the perfect place for this movie. And they used it as as a condiment, not the main course of the film, if that makes any sense. They used it to give you a little bit more flavor, but they didn't rely on that to be okay, you're coming to a Godzilla film, you're gonna see Godzilla destroy the city, and then he's gonna just go home. Like, you guys can leave. No, no, no. That wasn't even really the climax of the film. So the placement of it, I thought was brilliant because they kind of they used it as a tool, not they used it as an additive, not your main course, which I thought was brilliant, risky, and totally paid off. I thought this being a Godzilla of the Sea was incredible. I'm still trying to figure out the -1 title.
me too.
Um, I kind of like that I can't figure it out. I'm thinking -1 because the main star survived, and so he's minus. Like, I don't know, but you know what? It's okay. I don't think I need to. I can kind of interpret it. Um, but I urge everybody to experience. If there's anything on the planet that you should see in a theater, I dare say there's literally no better movie to experience in a theater than a Godzilla film.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. Tell me something that is a better theatrical experience than a fucking Godzilla film. I don't know.
There is none. I saw King of the Monsters in IMAX, and that shit slapped. Like,
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, that all those movies I saw in the theater. But I haven't been a big theater movie lover in years, but when those come out, there's no denying you go to the theater to see those. And I'm probably gonna revisit those movies again. 2014, I constantly like a little bit more. Um,
Of over King of the Monsters?
I'm not a big King of the Monsters fan. I'm not a
That
big King of the Monsters fan.
that's wild. That's
I
why
know.
I feel like that movie is more in line with the lore
I
and Toho, I think, than the other ones, because in that movie is a straight up disaster movie where
it
cities get leveled and people die, and it's just an all out monster warfare.
it is, but my thing is I I enjoy Godzilla to be the monster. I just do.
Yeah,
And
and he's the good guy, definitely in King of the Monsters.
it's not my style, man. It's just, and I enjoy watching some of those old movies, but I just I don't like 2014, the reason I became a bigger fan, as silly as it is when I got the 4K. I don't know who finally decided to fix it, but like if you watch the movie on streaming or if you watch the Blu-ray version, the the nighttime scenes, unless you literally are in a pitch black room, and I'm talking pitch black, no windows showing any light. You can't really understand stuff in that movie that well, but the 4K, they finally fixed the contrast to where the nighttime scenes, especially, everything is pristine. You can see it, you can make sense of it. I feel like 2014 is almost like a gothic movie. It's so dark the whole time, and I like the style of that. Style-wise, I enjoy 2014, um, but I much would have preferred America to, uh had made a film like -1, but I guess I don't need I just I v King of the Monsters theatrically was a blast experiencing it, don't get me wrong, it's just that's not my that's not my preferred kind of Godzilla movie. My favorite movie of this era, hands down, is Skull Island. I love Skull Island. I love the cast, John Goodman, Sam Jackson, Brie. You know, there's there's an Instagram account called Brie Larson's Black Dress. Apparently, she wore like some really sexy dress on like David Letterman or something. And this account it has like 300,000 followers. It got recommended to me. It's just her talking with her boobs out. It's like Jesus, man. It's like you struggle to grow your it's like so many people struggle to grow their social medias and they post all kinds of cool content and they work hard. And then some person makes a Brie Larson's Black Dress account, has 300,000 followers.
Yeah, because we're simpletons. Like we are.
But I love Skull Island. I think that movie's the antithesis to Peter Jackson's movie, which I love that too. It took me a long time to really fall in love with that movie, but I eventually did. But it's the exact antithesis. It is 90 minutes of carnage, hell raising, um, and I love King Kong in that movie. I
But
actually I actually like the way he looks in Peter Jackson's more. I wish that Kong was the size of Skull Island, but I actually prefer Peter Jackson's more authentic gorilla look. I really do.
yeah, see, here's my thing about the American Monsterverse, which I do love. I think everybody knows that. First of all, as far as King of the Monsters goes, and just the American Monsterverse in general, you're never gonna top King Ghidorah from King of the Monsters as a
Greatest
villain.
villain of all time.
You're never going to top that. And Michael Dougherty did an awesome job with Ghidorah in that movie. Like it was like he was making everyone his bitch. Like it was just, and rightfully so. He's massive. Like it you can create a category 5 hurricane wherever it goes. Like the thing is truly out of this world, no pun intended. Like, so you're never going to, I don't think you're ever going to have a better villain in the American Monsterverse than Ghidorah from that movie. Now, you could make the argument, well, hey, we haven't seen Destroya. We haven't seen, Space Godzilla. And some people go like, oh, well, that's a little too out there. And no, it's not. They did Mecha Godzilla. Nothing is too out there, especially because the vibe for a lot of these movies is fun, is kind of over the top. So I don't think any villain is off the table in the long run. But for me, I have one complaint about the MonsterVerse, dude, and it is for 90 minutes of all of these movies, the big heroes, Kong, Godzilla, whatever it may be, they're bitches for
Oh
most of
yeah.
the movie. They get their asses beat, and then at the end, they get the, oh, we finally overcame everything. But it's like when I'm watching King of the Monsters and I'm watching Godzilla get his ass kicked, or Godzilla 2014, and he can't take down a fucking Muto. Like, I'm like, come on, what is this shit? Like, that's the one complaint I have. And I guess I get it because it's like, oh, well, we're building to the crescendo. We're building to the end fight that's really going to show that Godzilla or Kong is really this badass. But they always end up needing the humans' help too. And I feel like that kind of takes away from it. Like,
So you're completely explaining why I'm not a fan of King of the Monsters. You're explaining it better than me.
I mean, I think King of the Monsters for me personally is I guess I get it a little bit more in that movie because there's multiple fucking monsters. Like, and Ghidorah is not they're not on the same level. Like Ghidorah's an alien. Like that's not a Titan. Like that's from outer space. Like, and I also think that could Godzilla have taken Ghidorah? He's kicking his ass in the ocean before the fucking oxygen destroyer came down. Like he ripped off one of his heads. Like, I do think he could have. They had that ancient rivalry, but the movie obviously has to elongate itself and it has to give trials for these characters because they want to inject the humans into them. And 2014 is no different. We get an entire side plot about a soldier that he's look, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't have anything against him as an actor, but his side plot with his wife and his plight is fucking cringe, dude. Like I cannot stand it. I
Yeah,
simply
everybody wanted Bryan Cranston to live.
yes, yes, and it's like
He was on top of the world at that point because Breaking
yeah,
Bad had just ended. He had America in the palm of his hand.
yeah,
So people
and
went
then
to that movie to see him.
you get the whole side plot of like, what did the military end up doing at the end of the day? Nothing, nothing. That whole side plot meant nothing. Like at the end of it all, he's like, all right, I'll just strap the bomb to this boat and I'll just go out as far into the ocean as I can to try to save the city before it detonates. That boat ain't getting away from that fucking Muto. It is a
No.
complete waste of time. And it ends up going nowhere because Godzilla has to come save the day with his fucking atomic breath. So, like, that's my thing about the Monsterverse is like that. And that's why I like King of the Monsters the most. It had the least human action in it. Yeah, because it had the most monster action.
Well,
Working
they killed the only character I really liked too.
in King of
That
the Monsters,
really made me feel that Toho connection. I'm
the
not trying to
doctor,
be the Asian guy that let them fight. I loved him.
Sarazawa.
He really made me feel the Toho connection.
Mhm.
And it's not because he's Asian. It's because of his character. This shit is serious. There's nothing funny about any of this, and
Yeah.
he's very stern. I love that. His character was written like a Toho character,
But I
and
felt like the death was earned because
well,
for
he
2
went down with his buddy.
yeah, we had seen him like he was defending Godzilla. Like he was like, we need this guy. Like we don't
Right.
appreciate this guy. Like we need to protect him. And then when the military almost killed him and the world was about to end because they almost killed him because he was the only thing that could take on Ghidorah,
Mhm.
he was like, fuck it. I'll right your guys is wrong because from the very beginning, I was the one that knew that this guy, we needed him. So like
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understood why they did that. I feel like that payoff was good. That was like, and the fact that he got to touch him, like, dude, nobody gets to touch Godzilla. Nobody gets to pet his face like he's a cat. He got to pet his
Didn't he say like goodbye, my friend?
goodbye. Yep,
Something. It's
yep.
just I haven't seen a whole lot of Marvel movies, but I'm telling you, dude, I feel like they are made in the blueprint of Marvel movies in America.
I think the term I
I
think the
feel
term
like
is more
that's
popcorn movie, but yes, you want it. Yeah, yeah. That's how you bring in more people. I mean, it really is. Minus one's going to do well here in the States. It ain't going to touch what Godzilla versus Kong did.
of course
Be-
not.
And
And dude,
because the
And
style is totally different.
the trailer for the new movie, I'm sorry, I know you're gonna be upset with me. I is hate is probably the word I would use to describe it. You gotta be fucking kidding me. We have a buddy cop movie now. We have a fucking buddy cop movie. And then they put that Thor thing on Kong's arm? The gorilla, 600 feet tall. Let him put a goddamn contraption on his arm. I'm out, dude. I'm
You're
out.
ridiculous. Yeah, we're gonna ignore the
I
fact that in the
really
Japanese movies we had fucking Space Godzilla and we
yeah,
had
but
all this shit.
that's I never said those are my favorite. I just told
I
you
know,
Godzilla
but
Minus One is probably the greatest Godzilla film I've ever seen.
I mean, dude, the way I look at it is the way Godzilla versus Kong ended was a mutual respect between the two of them, as he is the alpha of Hollow Earth, Kong is, and Godzilla is the alpha of Earth. And like that's just the way it works. And I don't think this movie's going to be a buddy cop movie. You see that
Dude,
one shot in the trailer, you're like, "Oh, here we go." That's probably literally only going to be the final fight. Like that's and it's no different than what they did in Godzilla versus Kong when they teamed up against Mechagodzilla. It would be no different. Like they're trying to extinguish a common enemy. Like, if they're running around the whole movie like Scooby and the gang, yeah, that's fucking stupid. But I don't
I
see
don't
that
know.
happening.
Well, for what it's worth, I much prefer the 63 Godzilla versus Kong, hands down. Because the people have zero control over what the fuck is happening. They literally are just brawling in the middle of Tokyo, destroying shit. And then that's the plot of the movie. The people have that's another thing I have an issue with these American guys. These people, the government should have zero control over anything. They're transporting Kong on ships. Like there's something about that bothers me. I don't know what it like. I'm not trying to be I'm the Toho guy. I really don't. I
How else is
feel
he gonna get to I will how else would he get to Hollow Earth though?
dude, he's a fucking 600-foot gorilla.
I think he's
Like
like 390. Like
okay.
one
Like
take.
what's the difference at that point, you know? But
Was
like
he gonna swim across the ocean to
I feel
Antarctica?
like yeah, 6 strokes, dude. He's halfway like 6 strokes is probably like 3 miles for him. But like I just feel like the people have too much control of the situations in these movies. I'm telling you, man, like
They do and they don't. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, because yeah,
I'm
they're
gonna be I'm stiff on Godzilla, dude. Like I know what I like.
no, that's
I'm clearly not the target demographic for the American Godzilla films. I get that. They got to be so fun for kids. But the whimsical nature of watching a guy like just watching a movie about a monster destroy shit when I was a kid. I don't know if that's not I guess that's not good enough nowadays for kids. Maybe
yeah,
not,
probably
you
not.
know.
My kid likes to see the fights. Like he likes to see when they fight. But I will say, in Godzilla versus Kong, I just watched it again the other day for the first time in a while. Dude, they fucking level Tokyo. Like it's not, yeah, that shit gets destroyed. Like there it's I mean, it's just not as prominently, it's not as focused on. But believe me, they destroy the shit out of that city. Like it's I mean, people are dying left and right. And it's made very clear in the first act of the movie when Godzilla attacks that Apex base that people
Yeah.
die. Like he just showed up there and was like, I'm gonna fucking like blow this place up and kill you guys. And he did. Like he
I
did.
I like Godzilla. It's funny because I have historically preferred Kong over Zilla. As crazy as that's like I love the original King Kong. I love the 76 King Kong. I love that movie so much. The 76 King Kong. And I went into Godzilla versus Kong, Team Kong. But I don't know. I just wish Kong would have cracked a few human skulls on purpose just for the hell of it. Instead, he's communicating with this little kid. Just like, fuck, man. He's a 390-foot gorilla. I don't know. But then again, like he has the whole thing, it's a romance. I get it. In the original. He
He
loves a
got
woman.
he got his fucking ass
Yeah,
whipped
and
by
that's
God.
another thing. Godzilla Godzilla was like a hitman in that movie.
I
So
was I was worried going into Godzilla versus Kong before I saw it because I knew that Kong was more favorable in America. It's just a fact. Like people in America seem to
they
like
love
Kong.
Kong because it's a romance. He loves the
Yeah,
broad. Yeah.
yeah. And so like I was worried. I was like, they better not nerf Godzilla and like have Kong be the victor. And I think they went about it the right way. They were like, we'll give him the kill shot on Mecha Godzilla. But before that, we'll make it very clear that he's Godzilla's bitch. And I appreciated that because Kong put up a fight. But at the end of the day, how did it end up? He was on the ground underneath Godzilla's foot, and Godzilla was basically like,
He almost
submit.
could have killed him. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're going to submit or I'm going to kill you.
Don't you kind of feel though that he has too much of like a Planet of the Apes look?
Yeah. I'm not big into the Kong design. I'm not going to lie to you.
I kind of hate it.
Yeah, I'm not big into it. I love the Godzilla design. I really, really do, especially after that abomination that was 98's design. I like no matter what you think about that movie, I hate that fucking design. And I
Yeah.
hate the origin of it's an iguana.
It's an iguana. Yeah.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of here. Like, so
Toho
for,
approved that because
I know
America, they have to. I think Toho did that. It was calculated. I think Toho knew what they were doing because
shoot
in the
yourself in the
movie
foot. Yeah.
Godzilla Final Wars came out in 2004 in Japan, they literally make that design of Godzilla come out to fight the real Godzilla. It's literally a war movie where every monster comes out to fight Godzilla, and the skinny Godzilla comes out, fat Godzilla tail whips him into a building and kills him. And literally, you can look it up on YouTube. I'll send you a clip. It happens in 10 seconds. And that was Toho's way of saying, yeah, you guys like, they were making fun of the 98 one clearly, but they have to approve, like they approve that.
Yeah. The 98 one, I think, fell into the trap because it was right in that heyday too of wanting to be like Jurassic Park. Like, let's make him look like a T-Rex.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but that's not Godzilla, dude. Like, that's I just
I
haven't
can't hate
watched
it though, dude. If you lived it, you
No,
can't hate it.
I did.
The
We
Taco
saw
Bell
it.
toy. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we saw it in theaters at the drive-in when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I lived it. I remember, like I
The
said, I had
toys, the Taco
toys.
Bell
Yeah,
stuff. It was
yeah, but
huge.
you go back now, and especially after 2014, and you're like, okay, thank God we got a new iteration here in America because, like,
I like
this is
the design too. I think I prefer the less symmetrical is not the word, but
you like the oddball shape. You
I like
you
the
that's
I
what
like
you
the
do.
50 I like the
Yeah,
54 look.
and I and
His arms are pretty much useless.
yeah,
But in the like he has like more he's more proportional and he's more sleek looking. Like I feel like his side profile is a lot more sleeker. Like he has like no double chin. His skin is smoother. I guess what I love about -1, dude. He looked like a giant disease.
dude, it
He
was
was
disgusting.
bumpy.
Yeah.
That's that's my style, dude. Like,
I loved the design of him in -1, his top half. I
dude,
just hate the fucking chunky bottom half.
I adore it.
I just
That's the authenticity, man.
I understand that, but for me, it makes the movement seem so inorganic. When he walks, I'm like, it doesn't look right at times when he's walking. It makes it look so laborious and so like it's hard to explain, but like I'm watching it and I'm like, I love the top half and when he's in the water and everything like that. And this Godzilla's a badass. Like,
Oh,
don't
he's
get me
evil. He's
wrong.
the devil. The
Yes.
devil in
Yeah, and
-1.
and and his the atomic breath in this one or the radiation breath, whatever they call it in this one, dude, unstoppable.
And
Like,
it was perfect too. They didn't stretch it out. I feel like in the American films, it's like a 40-second thing. It's coming. All his little things light up. They don't stretch it out too much in -1. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, well,
I
I
can go
will
over.
say, I actually think that I think they do in this one more than King of the Monsters, there was no charge up, like,
No,
ever.
not in King of the Monsters, but
Yeah, but
certainly
In
in
2014, the one time he uses it, oh yeah, it's a charge up. But there was the first time he used it in -1 was a charge up, but I loved it because we literally went up his spine
right.
with every fucking dorsal fin like activating and lighting up. And I was like, that was sick. Like I
Yeah.
loved that shit. Um, yeah, but I like that. I do like that more in King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong, that he can just kind of summon it and use it. He doesn't need this whole like, gotta expend all my energy and charge this fucking thing up. Like, why should he have to? He's a god. He's an
Yeah,
ancient god. Like,
exactly.
shoot the shit out. Like, I don't know. And that's another thing about King of the Monsters that I love is that you got your American take on like burning Godzilla, fire Godzilla, whatever you want to call it, the supercharged with radiation Godzilla, where he literally just is a fucking nuke. Like that shit was awesome. Like that. I remember seeing that in the theater, dude, in IMAX. That shit hit so hard. Like
Oh, it's
the
incredible.
city is just burning from his radiation as he's like letting it out on Ghidorah. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I know you guys thought we were going to talk a lot about Christmas tonight. That's mainly Godzilla. But look, all things considered, here's my biggest worry about Godzilla and Kong, the next movie. And I think you're going to agree with me here. I was going into this movie hoping we were going to see Destroya, Gamera or Gamora. Like I was hoping we were going to see some of that. The villain is going to be another ape.
I'm out.
It's like what? Like
You got
really? That's what we're doing? Like why couldn't we do Destroya? Like that would be so fucking sick.
I think that I wonder if they don't feel some of those characters have enough
Cachet in America.
yeah.
I guess you could
Because
say
I don't
the same
remember
about Mecha,
Mothra.
though.
I don't remember Ghidorah or Mothra really being promoted in King of the Monsters. As a matter of fact, I feel like it wasn't until the movie came out that people were saying Ghidorah's in it.
No, dude, Ghidorah was featured heavily throughout the trailer.
Fair
My
enough.
my background on my phone right after that trailer came out, I'll never forget, was the shot of Ghidorah on top of the fucking volcano with his
Okay,
wings
fair
spread.
enough.
Yeah, no, Ghidorah was featured prominently, but Rodan and Mothra were not.
See, Rodan's a fucking. I love Rodan. When I used to play those games, Godzilla Melee and King of the Monsters, All Monsters Attack for GameCube, I'd always get him.
Yeah. Rodan was super, and Mothra were super underutilized.
I hate Mothra passionately. It's the stupidest
Don't worry,
character ever.
in the next one, I've heard she's coming back.
Stupidest character ever.
People might go, "How? She died in King of the Monsters."
Let's just bring Manila back while we're at it.
Mothra can hatch into a new egg, like the essence of Mothra. Like that's the thing from Toho. So like Mothra can always come back. Mothra can die and then just be reborn. But yeah, dude, a new ape, like, come on, man. And then that just makes it sound to me like this is more of a Kong movie. And I feel like Godzilla versus Kong was more of a Kong movie. So like, when are we gonna get
no doubt in my mind, like with Freddy and Jason, like it's definitely more of a nightmare film. No doubt in my mind, if Kong's in it, it's a Kong movie. Because they give the gorilla character development. I need you to understand this, people. They give the gorilla character.
Yeah, dude, he talks. He's sign language.
It's just
not unbelievable because obviously with evolution and everything like that it's not unbelievable, but it was just weird to see because it was like, holy shit, like they're actually going to do that. Okay. But I mean, at this point, I guess that hard to believe he's friends with humans. Like, no, it's not hard to believe. He doesn't want to hurt people. Like, I don't know, man. I'm worried that the MonsterVerse is going to become more about showcasing Kong and trying to build Kong up, and Godzilla, it's a supporting character. And I personally don't feel like that's right because it's only a thing because Godzilla 2014 was a big hit. Like, I don't think that Godzilla should be taking the back seat here. Like, I really don't. And as a Godzilla guy, it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, I saw Godzilla 2014 3 times in theaters. And then I saw King of the Monsters 3 times in theaters. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't. It just doesn't jive with me well thinking about that. That like what?
I'd be
He's
willing to bet this is not gonna be the best Godzilla MonsterVerse movie by a country mile. I'm telling you, dude, it's a buddy cop movie. Tell me I'm wrong. That trailer made it look like a fucking buddy cop film.
I mean, uh, in their defense, they didn't play into that till like the last 30 seconds when she's like, he's not alone. And then you get the shot of also, do have to say, that like fucking pink charged up Godzilla looks sick. I can't wait to find out what the fuck that is.
That's right, he was pink.
Yeah. I can't wait to find out what that is and like what he can do because of that. Like that looks sick. I'm interested in that.
That's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Godzilla.
Yes. Yeah. I had a buddy of mine, he's big into Godzilla, like you. Like he's seen all the Toho and Showa. Like he's big into it.
Yeah.
And he was asking me, he's like, what do you think this is for like Godzilla? Like he was like pink and shit. I was like, probably like Hollow Earth, because they said there's like energy down there that isn't on the surface of Earth. So he probably gets supercharged from that. I don't know. But
Mhm.
again, I keep coming back to, why is it another fucking ape? Like, why?
You can no longer call him King Kong if there's a bigger one. Now he's just Kong.
Exactly. And it's
Do they even call him King Kong in these movies, or is it just Kong?
Hong Kong.
Fuck. Maybe this is King Kong we're about to meet.
Well, yeah, because he's supposed to be the king of Hollow Earth, and that's how that movie ended. He was the king of Hollow Earth, and I guess the story in this one is that he went down there to reclaim his ancestor's throne, basically, and make it his. And there's another bigger monkey down there that's like, "Hey, fuck you, dude. That's my throne." And so, and then Godzilla,
What if it's Mechanicong? Are they
hey,
going to bring out Mechanicong this time?
look, we need to tell the people this. We need to be honest with our listeners right now, Christian, because you and I talked about this.
I like Mechanicong.
Where the fuck is the tease from King of the Monsters, where they got Ghidorah's head? Where is the tease of Mecha Ghidorah? Like, and people go,
Mecha King Ghidorah, yeah.
people go, oh well, they
Um,
had his skull. They had his skull to use the like the BioLink or whatever the fuck it was, the Neuralink into Mecha Godzilla. That wasn't the head that the eco terrorists purchased. That was a different head. They set that up on purpose at the end of King of the Monsters to go, oh, they're gonna bring in Mecha King Ghidorah.
right.
What is it?
I don't know. They could ignore it. They could be doing a very good job about uh keeping that at bay for now. I guess I guess this is why, like, I look at promoting movies so much differently from a fan's perspective. Don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I'm nobody. If you got something cool in the movie, I'd be promoting it the day it's official. If it's in the script, it's locked. Whatever monster's in it, I'm promoting the shit out of it. I'm putting posters all around town, with the exception of Mothra, of every monster that's in the movie. I'm shoving posters of everything. They could be hiding it. I don't know why. The Mecha Godzilla in Godzilla versus Kong wasn't.
I didn't
I don't
love
understand
the design. I
why.
didn't hate the design, but I didn't love it.
Yeah,
It was
I guess
okay, but I will say it did seem OP, which is what I wanted. I wanted Mecha Godzilla to really seem like, holy fuck, how are they going to take this thing down? And that was believable. Like Mecha Godzilla was kicking Godzilla's ass.
yeah. Fair enough. I
And
don't
even
know.
then, Kong got the final blow on Mecha Godzilla, but that was only made possible because of Godzilla. He charged up the axe with his fucking breath, which is what made it possible. So they needed each other to take down Mecha Godzilla. So I feel like they handled that in the right way. This thing should be one-on-one. It could take either one of you guys on and beat
Right.
you handily.
Well, I guess we're gonna get that with the big ass gorilla.
Yeah,
When's this movie coming out?
April.
Oh, coming up? Like this coming April?
Yeah, 4 months.
Fuck.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
Dude,
gonna go see it as much as I'm bitching about it.
well, and I'll meet you halfway here. I will agree with you. When it comes to quality of film, storytelling, characters, social commentary, terrifying nature of Godzilla,
Mhm.
nobody does it better than Japan. Nobody. Like Toho has that. Shin Godzilla. I don't know why there's so many people that are split on that movie. That movie fucking rules.
I think it's
Like
too weird for them.
it's weird, but
You
it
know,
rules. I love that movie. But -1 is legitimately like an incredible film. Like
it's
from start
it's.
to finish.
I think it's as good as like a Squid Game, to where people in America were like, people keep saying the show's really good, but I gotta read subtitles. I don't know. And then you watch it and you get so sucked in, and you realize, oh my god, these are human beings across the planet too. They just talk differently than us. They feel pain the way we do. They
Mhm.
go through life problems the way we do. Holy shit. It's like a light bulb went off, and Squid Game became literally the biggest thing in the world when it came out.
And did you know that
So
-1 right now, it's going up day by day in box office take. Like
I
the
totally believe it.
it took over first place today
Good.
on a fucking or like yesterday on a Wednesday. Like
Good.
all of a sudden, it's the word of mouth, and I think it's getting more people that are into the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla to go see it because people are talking about it. Like this movie's really good, and people are like, "Oh, I'll go see it." They're projecting this weekend. It might not. Not only might it not drop at all from last weekend, it might be one of the rare movies that
That
has a
does more.
bigger second weekend.
I hope it does. God bless Toho for it. I mean, they deserve it.
Mhm.
Um, so I was bummed out because I was talking to Sydney about this. I was like, Sydney, there's still time for me to see another movie that could rock my world, Nosferatu. And she was like, "You talking about the Robert Eggers one?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, That's next year's December.
Mhm.
That's not this month." I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Dude, next year's gonna rule. We're gonna have Nosferatu, we're gonna have Salem's Lot. It'll get a release date at some point next year. Um, there's a lot that I'm really looking forward to next year. I kind of agree with you that I think 2023 was one of those more middling years. There were some good movies that came out of this year, but it was quality, not quantity. There was a few good ones, but quantity-wise, there wasn't a lot of them.
So you mean it was more quantity than quality? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I'm saying that
That's what I'm saying.
there wasn't a quantity of quality movies.
Okay.
There were a few quality movies, but like last year, for example, there was a lot of like quality movies.
I I'll be honest. I really loved Renfield when it came out. Still love it. It's not a 5-star film. I was way overzealous. Still loved it. Evil Dead Rise, good movie. Call me old fashioned. The series is at its best when it had Bruce Campbell in it. It's not because he's a man. It's just because it was such a great character. The mama was great in the remake, in the not the remake, in Evil Dead Rise, but it didn't have. I didn't like it as much watching it again, or I was just like, this is still good. Um, Voyage of the Demeter, I really enjoyed. Not what people are looking for. I get it. I'm in the minority when it comes to those kinds of films. Not a 5-star film. Scream, fun, but it's just like, okay, move on. I'm ready to move on. I don't know what it is about Scream movies. When they're coming, I'm excited.
Mhm.
But once I see it, Nick, leave me alone about it. And now I fear, because of all the shit show going on now, it's funny. You might would think, oh, Christian's probably excited. They have to go to the drawing board completely again. They're doing something totally different. Awesome. I'm not. I'm just over it. It's a
Yeah,
shit show.
you made us buy into new characters just to unceremoniously write them out. You know, like
My money says, Nick, she will. Both them sisters will be in the movie. Both of them. They have to course correct.
the
They
only
have to.
way the only way that happens is if they put a pause on the movie and they wait. And I don't know if they're going to do that because Paramount apparently made it very clear they want this movie out in the final quarter of 2024, come hell or high water, which means it's going to shoot in the first quarter of next year. So, from what I had heard and what has circulated online, they're scrambling right now to get a new script because they kind of have a hard start date or a
But
time frame.
but they fucked up so bad. Like, this is on them.
It is,
Like,
but
I
you and I
don't.
both know. Let's call a spade a spade. The the people on social media that are upset about it and that think it's messed up, and rightfully so, they're the minority. They're not the majority of people. I mean, we saw that with 6 with Nev Campbell. A lot of people were mad. This is worse. I would say this is worse, but a lot of people were mad about Nev Campbell. And then Scream 6 did like $30 million more than Scream 5. So
Yeah,
like,
it was surprising. It wasn't, but it really was more surprising.
but I think the biggest thing here is not even just the bad look with Melissa Barrera personally, what they did there, whether you agree or not, just like it is a bad look, it's bad PR. It's Jenna's not there. She's a fucking star now. She definitely drove some of that box office for those last 2 movies.
That's
She's
why
not
I
here.
that's why I think they are going to try to right the ship. I really do. I'd almost be willing to bet money on it. I really would.
Maybe.
I don't think Nev is touching this with a 10-foot pole anymore. I really don't. She doesn't need the money, people. I love how people act like she needs to be in Scream movies. She doesn't need to do shit. I really think she's not touching it with a 10-foot pole, and I really think Matthew Lillard ain't touching it with a 10-foot pole either. I think it's damaged goods, dude.
Oh,
As
it's
a matter of fact, it's the more I say that, maybe neither one of them want to do it or are going to want to do it for any sort of money anymore. Certainly not Jenna. She doesn't need the money.
there was a report a week or 2 ago from some of the trades, so it wasn't just somebody saying, "Oh, I heard this from Jimmy down at the gas station." No, like
I
there
trust
was,
him though.
yeah, I know, me too. And it was basically like, I guess Spyglass's CEO is very famous for like he doesn't believe in quote unquote overpaying for talent. So the belief was that they had, and this was true. I knew this. Variety had said this months ago, and so did the Wrap. They were actively negotiating with Jenna. They knew she was going to have a limited role because of shooting for Wednesday, but they were like, "We're going to make it work. It might only be a week on set, but we're going to make it work." They weren't willing to pay her what she wanted, and I think the CEO essentially was like, just like with Nev, "We don't need you then. Bye." And in that same reporting, it was alluded to, well, hey, now without Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, they'll probably back the Brinks truck up for Nev. And yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll meet Nev at whatever she would request now. But does Nev even go anywhere near it?
Well, let's take the optics of the politics more or less out of it. Let's just take the optics out of that. Nev is sloppy seconds.
Yep.
Now, as a person that has self-respect, which God knows Nev Campbell does, clearly, money's no money in the world. Well, everybody has a price, so I don't want to say that. And believe me, everybody has a price. But the optics of just that alone, I could see her being like, fuck you. Of course I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
Because clearly, like, yeah, I if anything, the road to Scream 7 is going to be twice as interesting as the movie itself. And I
Christian,
guarantee you, I almost will guarantee you this will be the worst one out of the 3.
Christian, I will just venture to say this right now. If you do not have Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, you're obviously not going to have Chad and Mindy as well, Jasmine Savoy Brown or Mason Gooding. So
Even worse, they'll be the star of it, Nick,
well, I
and
genuinely,
nobody cares about them.
apparently they both
Respectfully,
apparently they both like unfollowed Spyglass and Paramount and everything on their social media. Like
well, good for them.
they're not
Fuck 'em.
coming back. So Core 4's gone. If you don't get Nev and you don't have the Core 4, Courtney Cox ain't doing it. You don't have a fucking movie. So what? You're gonna make a Scream movie with an entirely new cast, unrelated to anything that's ever happened before. So there's no emotional attachment to shit
Mhm.
except the ghost face mask. You don't have a fucking movie, dude. You have to have somebody. You have to have Scream backed
They-
itself into a corner when they made their first sequel because back in the 90s, because Scream said, we're going to carry on storylines and characters in every fucking movie. That's what we do. If you make the 7th movie with none of that, You have no fucking Scream movie. So at that point, it's not worth it. Just crumple up the paper, throw it away, and relinquish the rights, because you and I both know what's going to happen here. No matter what Spyglass and Paramount do with this movie, 10 years from now, we're getting a fucking legacy sequel with the core four coming back, just like they did with Scream 5. Like, bringing the old people back. It's going to fucking happen. It'll just be a different company. So do you go forward with a 7 that you won't get a sequel to because not enough people will go see it? Nobody will give a shit. And then I believe this is the last film that Spyglass has the rights. I believe they had a trilogy. So then the rights are up. There's a bidding war. Maybe Spyglass is like, we don't even give a shit anymore. Somebody else gets it, and then you're just going to get your legacy sequel to Scream 6. So, like, why even make a movie? Why do it?
This is going to go. I think this will be documented. There will be documentaries about this. There will be, this is pretty, it really is cursed, I think. It is, but it isn't. Because the movies keep making money. The fact that 6 did more than 5 is impressive. This is why I say, dude, I think that they are gonna do everything they can to pretend this to try to sweep all this under the rug with these two.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to rack my brain. Like, what do you make a sequel to? Everybody died in 4. I mean,
even if you get Courtney back, but you don't get Nev or the core 4, I'm gonna be honest with you, Christian.
nobody's going to see a movie with Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox is a great supporting character. She ain't a great lead.
Certainly not in these movies.
That's what I'm saying. Gail Weathers is not going to carry a Scream movie.
No.
It's not going to happen.
They killed Cotton. Jamie's dead. Yeah, they're fucked. There's no two ways about it. They are fucked in every hole possible. Plugged.
Yep.
So
Plugged and fucked.
I think they're either gonna have to. They don't have a choice. My money says they're gonna get these two back, and I don't know what they were expecting. Spyglass. So let me ask you this. Here's what I'll say about the situation that the political situation. The girl has an opinion on it. Whether I agree with it or not, to me, is so totally irrelevant or unimportant. Yep. She's doing nothing wrong but giving her opinion. Whether you agree with it or not, she's giving an opinion on something. Whose life is changed by her giving an opinion? Literally nobody's. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Nick, you feel free to say what you want. I don't talk about politics online. I just feel it's a lose-lose situation no matter what. But that's what I'll say about that. What did because Spyglass is the ones that fired her, right? Not Paramount. It was Spyglass, right? What did they expect was going to happen? I think they might have. I think some of these companies look too much at the outliers of what they see on the internet and not what actual people really think. The average person does not give a rat's ass about somebody having an opinion, a thought about something. It does nothing to hurt anybody or change anything. A thought. The average person is not what you see on fucking X or Twitter or Facebook. That's not. That's all bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's the internet. That's what you see is the ridiculousness of the internet. Because normal people don't give their opinions on the daily basis on the internet. It's only people with nothing going on that just want to stir shit up. That's the internet for you. What did they expect was going to happen? You know, I mean, seriously, obviously not what happened, but what the fuck? Here's the best thing, Nick. If they never would have done anything about her just giving her opinion on this thing, I never would have even known she gave an opinion on it.
Same.
Well, you might, but I know for a fact I would.
I had no idea when they announced that they fired her and blah blah blah.
I'm saying fair enough. I know you follow the stuff more closely and follow these people probably more than I do. But my thing is, and fair enough, I'll take you on that.
I had
I
no idea what they were referencing. They're like,
and I
"Oh, she made these
guarantee
posts,"
you
and I was like, "What?"
I guarantee you it would have been over in 2 seconds. She gave her opinion on it, then the next in 5 minutes, somebody else says something that stirs up X or
Yeah.
Twitter. Literally nobody would I never would have known. That's what's crazy about this.
Yes,
That's what's fucking crazy about this whole thing.
they thought they were getting out in front of something and saving face, but in
They
reality,
they're idiots.
they blew on the hot coals and made a fire. There was not a fire there. You made the fire, and you're burning your own house down, and it's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep.
Like, it's genuinely, like, some of the dumbest, and again, like you said, and I echoed this in a video I made about it. Regardless of your stance, like, we are living in dangerous times. If no matter your profession, actor, director, teacher, no matter your profession, if you cannot have an opinion on something without fear of losing your job, unless the opinion is like truly abhorrent, like I'm not even going to give an example because I don't want
We
YouTube
know
to
we
flag.
know we know what abhorrent the people
Yes.
know what you mean by that.
So, like, if you're just giving your opinion on a situation like that, but you're not, it's so wild. Like the chick from The Mandalorian a couple years ago, Gina Carano, that she I guess was very kind of hardcore into like the QAnon shit and stuff, which I think is batshit personally, but she's allowed to have that opinion and like voice that on social media. Like she's allowed to do that. Like you can't you can't penalize these people for that because like what standard are you setting that like when you get into any line of work where you have any social media presence whatsoever, you lose all individuality?
Yep.
No, fuck that. Like, and someone I'm sure is listening to this and going, well, when you have a bad opinion, that's not the point. It's a bad opinion to you. But like, there are going to be people, I promise you, you love a movie or a TV show or a band where one of the people that is prominently featured in that group or in that movie has said things that you would find vile, that you don't agree with, that oh my God, I can't support them anymore. Guess what? It's because they're all individuals and they're allowed to have those opinions. And if we're really going to walk this tightrope of where it's like, you cannot have an opinion. No, you're not allowed to do that. So just sit down. It's the equivalent of shut up and dribble. Like when people will be like, "Oh yeah, these basketball players, these football players aren't allowed to have opinions on what's happening in the world." Yes, they fucking are. Everybody's allowed to. It's all the people that say that are always the people that they don't agree with that opinion.
Of
So
course,
they're like,
and that's like,
yeah,
why are you giving so much credence to these people's opinion anyway? It's no better than anybody else's.
what's it going to change, dude? What's it going to change? There are
Literally
people
nothing.
fighting right now.
It
What is
changes
one actress's opinion going to do for that? Fucking nothing.
like
So
who
like,
yeah, that's my thing about the whole thing. So
yeah,
but but it's unprecedented. This is unprecedented. And I love how Jenna's team is like, "Oh, she can't do it. She's busy."
yeah. And people are like, "Oh no, no, yeah, no, that's it. That's true. Believe me, that's true." No, it's not. This absolutely played into it. Yes, it looked unlikely that she was going to be a prominent player in this movie, regardless, months
Oh, it
ago.
100% plays into it.
But they were negotiating with her. They wanted her to have a small role. And
It
now,
150% plays into it.
yeah. And by the way, I'm just going to say this. I don't, I fucking hate cancel culture. I fucking hate it. I think it has created some of the worst fucking things because we are taking individuality from people. Now, obviously, like I said, when you say something that's truly like fucked up or is putting people at harm or causing people to do things that are illegal or harmful, that is one thing. But cancel culture, because someone spoke their mind and you just don't agree with them, is toxic as shit, dude. And I cannot get behind that. And it's like, and it's gotten to the point where it's infected these companies now, man.
It's
Like it's
scary. It
yes,
really
and
is scary.
they feel like they have to like toe the line and go, oh, well, we have to make a stand. We have to be a white knight right now. And you're making it worse. Look what they just did. They made it worse. They didn't make it better. And it's just, I don't know. If you know me personally, and you know some of my politics, you'd be like, oh, what? Like, this doesn't really, I wouldn't expect that from you. Cancel culture is stupid as shit, bro. It's dumb. Like, dude, have whatever opinion you want on something. If
Well,
it's
I
not
almo
hurting anyone, I don't care.
of
I don't
course.
care.
Here, I think the average person, of course, thinks that way. I think the internet enjoys it. It's literally like a video game
Mhm.
to dig up stuff about people. But I almost wonder, could this be a tipping point with Spyglass? Like, I really wonder, could this be a tipping point in that direction because they just lost a movie? They fucked themselves
Yeah.
because people got pissed off that, they're firing others for their opinion.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I said, this
My
this is unprecedented because it's one thing to kick somebody off of a movie, but we've never seen the domino effect happen
No.
like this. This is a first.
And even the people that were against her opinion, I find it funny that they completely omit that, like, 12 hours later, she followed it up, and she very clearly was like, innocent people on either side should not be dying. I do not agree with any of that. I'm essentially saying I want peace. I don't want warfare. I don't want civilians dying. If you can't agree with that, you're a fucked up individual. Like, at the end of the day, that was her stance. She could have clarified that in her initial post more, sure, but, like, I saw that post after it was announced before she made her follow-up, and I didn't take offense to it. I could, because I could read between the lines because 'cause I'm not an idiot. I have an IQ above 50, and I could go, "Okay, it sounds to me like someone that's just fed up with, like, the war and, like, just civilians dying that shouldn't be dying." That's, yeah, I agree with that. No matter what country they're from, like, I don't think civilians should die. I mean, look at Russia and Ukraine. I don't you I don't agree with if Russian civilians or Ukrainian civilians died. I wouldn't agree with that. They play no part in that. Like, innocent people shouldn't have to die. Like, I just don't think that that's a controversial thing to have. But I guess it is. I guess it is. You have to be pro war on one side. You can't just be someone that's like, "Hey man, can we just like have a drink and chill?" Like, I don't know. I don't agree when we go to war ever either. You know, we fight wars all the time for crusty ass politicians because they want money or oil or whatever or land, whatever it is. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing here, bro? Like, I would only agree with war if there was an existential threat to our country that we were facing, or if someone invaded us. Aside from that, hey man, can we like not kill people? Like, that'd be cool. Like, I don't know.
I it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. I think we're gonna get I'm telling you, we're gonna get some interesting news in the next couple weeks. I guarantee you.
We're gonna get some interesting comments on this too. Even though I feel like everything I just said was like coming from someone that you would go, "Oh, this person is a moderate. They're very middle of the road. They
Well,
see things pragmatically."
like I said, to me, it's a lose-lose. I don't talk any kind of politics online. Um, Offline, I'll talk to you all day about it, but not on the internet.
I mean, you don't see me post that shit on my social media. I don't give my opinions on that kind of stuff because it's toxic. I don't want anyone from either side or from neither side feeling alienated that, oh, I can't support this person because I don't agree with them on this or on that. It's like, that's stupid. Like, this is a space for us to talk about movies, movie news, stuff like that. Like, why we got to get into our personal opinions about crusty ass fucking 90-year-olds running the country? You know what I mean? Like,
95. Um, I hear you, dude. I really think though they're gonna get them back. I think that's their only play. I think that's it.
might
Nev
be.
ain't Nev ain't coming back. 1000%. She's not touching this with a 10-foot pole
You guys heard it here first. On
unless
Thursday.
they offered her like $50 million, like
That's
fifty
not out of the
million.
well, 50 million is out of the realm of possibility. Yes. But I want to say that, like, I I don't know. I want to say I think it's like 10 million probably. Um, is probably I think that's what she wanted for the last one. I can't remember where I read that. Um, which in the grand scheme of things, when that movie made almost $200 million and she would have been your highest paid person, who cares? That's a drop in the bucket. Like, I I don't know. Whatever. Well, guys, that's your Uneeda December episode. We didn't talk a lot about Christmas. That's
Well,
fine.
if there's any other kind of Christmas movies you want to talk about, like I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna be really pessimistic. Guys, I'm sick and tired of rewatching Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm sick and tired of rewatching Black Christmas. I've done it for years. I'm not that excited about it anymore. I'm sorry. I could lie to you. I could come on here and feed you a bunch of bullshit. I don't see how half of you guys rewatch those movies every year. Um, Black Christmas is fucking incredible. But you know what? Maybe I'll start watching it like once every 3 years, once every 4 years. I've watched the Silent Night remake. Apparently, there's another movie out right now called Silent Night. Haven't seen it. Don't know
It's
if
an
it's good or not.
action movie
Interesting.
with no dialogue. Yes.
See, that's my thing. It's like, okay, Willy's Wonderland did good. Let's do a fucking Christmas movie like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good. I don't know. I like Nick Cage in Willy's Wonderland,
Yeah.
but I really want next year to kick my ass. I really want to see Blumhouse get some original stuff out there, some new stuff.
Swim.
I saw that Night Swim. I saw that there is a Black Phone sequel coming out with Ethan Hawke in it. He's fucking dead.
No, he's not,
Nick,
dude. He's supernatural.
I swear, Nick. I couldn't be in the movie business. I couldn't do it. I say that. I'd probably sell out as fast as a fucking anything.
I mean, you got to follow the dollar, man. When a movie makes money, they follow the dollar.
I don't. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm ready for a new trend in horror, Nick. I really am. I'm sick and tired of requels. I'm really over it.
We need the Leprechaun back.
I mean, Leprechaun Returns was fun.
I was gonna say, don't you dare say Origins.
No, Origins is horrible. I'm just ready for something to come out to shake everything up again. I'm ready for that. I feel like it's coming. I don't think Terrifier is it. I think Terrifier is Terrifier's not it. Something needs to come out that completely shakes everything up. I'm trying to think of the last movie that really did that. I think it was probably Paranormal Activity.
I got
that much. I mean, that really shook shit up, where it disrupted big franchises at the time. Like, I want something to come out to disrupt Scream and Exorcist and all this. I want something to come out that completely disrupts it and stomps on it and whips all that shit's ass in the box office. I love it when something new happens. And I hope that comes soon, because I'm so ready for the next chapter in horror. I really am. I think the requel, this is 2024. Dude, this shit started in 2018. It's time. It's time.
Uncle Jerry 3.
It's in pre-production still. Still in pre-production.
That's what's gonna do it.
I don't know what it is, but I know I'm ready for it.
We'll be there.
That's all I'm saying.
You guys heard it here first. Horror is about to get a shakeup soon. Christian can feel it in his bones. What is it? When is it? I don't know. We don't know, but soon. Just keep your eyes peeled, and it'll be here before you know it. But if we don't talk to you guys again before Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, whatever you guys celebrate. I know I speak for both of us, and obviously Christian can speak for himself too, that, we hope you guys have a very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas. Thanks for, being along for the ride with us for as long as you guys have been. And we hope you enjoyed this episode, that it is our December episode. but it was very much, we talked about things that came out this, around this time, mainly Godzilla. Talked about news that was percolating. We talked about a couple Christmas movies. But that's kind of how it is. We kind of just go, man. We kind of just shoot from the hip, and whatever we want to talk about, we want to talk about. And you guys get our unfiltered opinions. And I feel like you wouldn't have it any other way, because why would we be guarded and fucking not speak our mind? So I don't know, man. You got anything to add?
Go watch The Toy Maker.
Yes. Yes.
That's my recommendation. Go watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
That's my, go pick up the Vestron. That's my Christmas recommendation.
You can skip 2. It's basically 1.
You can skip 1 and 2 because you've seen them 1,000 times. Go watch the Brian Usnum one, 4, which I actually really like. Go watch The Toy Maker.
Toy Maker's so weird, it rules.
Go watch those movies, guys. Go give yourself a break. Those are fun. Go check those out. Yeah, but I hope everybody has a great Christmas. A Chinooka. I was watching Sydney show me something. Cameo posted a video that Smokey Robinson shared. He didn't know how to say Hanukkah, so he's pronouncing the C in it. And he was talking to somebody like, "I want to wish y'all a happy Chinooka." He kept saying it over and over again. I don't know what that is, but I hope it's great for you guys. Anyway, so happy Chinooka.
Yes.
Actually,
the night we're recording this is the first night of Hanukkah.
There you go. I don't know. The year flew by. I know that flew fucking by. I can't believe it. It's insane how fast life is. If you're in your teenage years, enjoy it. I'm telling you, it's just life is like a it's like a train, and you just see each car. If you stand there, shoom, 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 that's life. It's incredible. Yes. Enjoy it, guys. It goes by fast. So.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we love you guys. We hope you all take care of yourselves again. Have a very Merry Christmas. Happy Chanukah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. Hopefully we see you guys again before the new year. That's still like almost 4 weeks. So hopefully, but take care of yourselves. Buy some Uneeda merch, subscribe, like this video, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about everything we talked about tonight. That's going to do it for us. We're signing off. We'll see you guys. We'll catch y'all on the flippity flip.